Hey guys, what's going on? Mouse here. So in this video, we're gonna break down Sung Il-hwan. Is he actually worth it now and in the future? I'll go over his skills one by one, explain how his mechanics actually work. Then we'll talk about his rotation, different builds across different content, the best artifacts, shadows, and stat priorities, plus the team comps synergy, and of course the big problems holding him back right now. Just a quick reminder before we start, don't forget to support me in the content creator program. More codes are coming soon, probably next week. That includes 2000 essence stones, gold, marks of time, abyssal crystals, and more. Once again, thank you so much for all the support. So let's start first with his MP mechanics. He does not regenerate MP naturally. He only restores MP after using his ultimate. The description here says 14% of current MP per stack of rulers upgrade, but after testing, it's actually just 14% of max MP flat. The rulers upgrade stack basically just increases basic and ultimate skill damage percent, and I tested it and confirmed that it is additive with other sources. Now he also has this ruler's scale from skill 1. You get this per hit, not per skill cast, and it increases the skill 2's damage by 1% each up to 160%. After checking, apparently this is also a skill type multiplier, meaning there will be diminishing returns with the infamous set, but even so, it's still pretty decent. At A1, you'll get this marked debuff and suppress. This one right here is multiplicative with increased damage taken. And the ultimate damage taken part is also multiplicative and will be likely additive only to similar types like Harper's debuff, which is up to 64% total ultimate damage taken. So that being said, this is actually very, very huge. Next, he also has this mechanic wherein the duration of the buffs that he has will reset once he uses his ultimate. But remember, this has 30 seconds cooldown, so sometimes it will not be a permanent thing. Now, here at A3, there are double hits mentioned. Basically, it just doubles the hits and literally just doubles the damage. So this is also very, very big for him. This is quite similar to the bugged version of Kotter Yuji, if you guys still remember. Anyway, for his MP regen mechanics, at A0, you'll see that he gets a small amount of MP and power gauge for any basic skill casted by a teammate. It's important to take note, however, that the A5 version restores a lot more, but it is only activated with dark team members, 8% MP and 4% power gauge. So using it with other elements might not be optimal. And just lastly, ruler's protection at A5, he has a shield proc whenever he uses skill 2, but do remember that in this part right here, any shield activated on him will increase the stacks of attack percent and crit rate percent, which is up to 36%. It doesn't have to be the skill 2. So what I do for the Hunter's mode, this is where I get the best damage over a period of 2 minutes. Still very early to say, but I don't want to spend too much time on it anymore because we're not going to be using him that much in dungeons anyway. But for now, this is the positioning. He's on the second slot because he would need to keep using his ultimate to regen his MP. Remember, Isla shortens the cooldown and instantly gives a large amount of power gauge. So to start, I immediately switch to Harper, do her combo, skill 1, and then skill 2, then QTE to Isla. Then just activate the core, then skill 2, and then ultimate. Finally, just use the core attack, then straight into QTE. Use the skill 1 3 times, so just hold it, just do a couple more basic attacks to reduce the cooldown of skill 1, then just hold it again. Now, after that, I use the ultimate immediately here before using skill 2 because Isla's buff that include the crit rate and damage increase and crit damage are about to expire. And by doing this, you can reset the duration of the buffs. The trade-off here, however, is that you will consume all the stacks and so you won't have it when you use skill 2. So before I switch to Harper, I just do another skill 1. Then on the second rotation after Isla, what I do is just another skill 1, just charge the skill 2 with full stacks, then ultimate. Now in this case, the buff duration reset is still on cooldown, so I just do another skill 1, then just rinse and repeat. To sum up, basically my Q in this kind of rotation will just be whether I still have Isla's 3 buff or not, because that crit rate is very, very important against high level monsters. In the training dummy, my test showed that Il-hwan is already better, and not to mention Minnie's MP problem is quite annoying, but I think it might be different against high level monsters, which I haven't tried yet, where Minnie's crazy amount of crit rate could potentially be better. But still, I think that MP problem of Minnie, wherein she won't be able to sustain the MP with Obsidian Set, is gonna be a huge problem. Now, when it comes to team compositions, highest priority will be to put him on the second slot to take advantage of his damage and also to help him regen MP more frequently. The third unit can either be Minnie if the enemy has no break gauge, because Minnie spams her skills for his MP and power gauge. But if you need the breaker, you can of course use either Harper or Lim. You might get a decent damage improvement with Il-hwan's A4, but like I mentioned, in case you haven't watched my previous video, this A4 is potentially bugged. It's not really giving that passive attack percent, but still, this is a pretty decent boost. But of course, still situational depending on the game content. And the only time I see this being used is in Guild Boss, but only if you don't have Minnie. Of course, once we get the proper Dark Breaker designed for Sung Il-hwan, which should be an attack unit too and most likely a damager, I think that's the only time that we're gonna see a huge difference in overall team damage output. Now let's talk about the builds and start with the dungeons. For dungeons, here's what I recommend for his artifact. You can use Expert, but it will be difficult to get stacks since you always have to switch him out. I think Obsidian is gonna be better, but you will have trouble maintaining 40% MP if you don't have the right build. And the solution I found is just to use, of course, the Teeth of the Watcher and a full MP core to increase his mana pool and be able to do multiple rotations. So basically, you just need enough to be able to maintain 40% MP before he casts his ultimate to fully regen his MP. And for the left side, you can use Curse or Infamy. I'm not sure which one's going to be the better option, but I think there wouldn't be much difference anyway, so I'll just leave that up to you. And for the Shadow, you can either use Skull to help a bit more when it comes to MP, or any other Shadow that we usually use depending on the purpose. And for the Remnant, don't forget to use Baron here because the bonuses include Assassin type and you won't get this from Yogurant. Now finally, for the course, I think the Nameless Demon is best here in general since he always uses his ultimate, followed up with a few skill casts. He has a decent amount of attack percent, so the 5% core might have a bit of diminishing return, but I think they're gonna be pretty much the same. Maybe if we're gonna use Expert Set, I would avoid Ancient Wraith, but if we're using Infamy, I feel like Ancient Wraith is gonna be the best option. Middle one usually can be anything, and of course, Teeth of the Watcher for that flat MP consumption reduction. For the artifacts in the giant statue, penetration is very important, of course. That's why we typically use the armed set paired with Expert. The Infamy set also works well, but I think it's slightly lower. Still need to play it more and optimize for more penetration, but I do feel like armed set will still be superior. Typically, there's no problem with MP regen as long as your other unit is Minnie, but if it's not Minnie, then there might be a problem and you need to readjust your MP pool and MP consumption reduction. Now for POD, I haven't been able to play much yet. I just did some quick tests and I think Infamy set worked the best. I haven't tried Obsidian, but I feel like there's a chance for it to be better than Expert. I'll just post another detailed guide for the Dark POD after doing more tests, so just stay tuned for that. So overall, he did not directly power creep Minnie. I feel he's pretty good, but I think he's still incomplete, and the missing piece aside from the AI problem, probably an attack breaker who can also deal huge amounts of damage, and it should also be of course a skill spammer to help out with his MP regen and power gauge. Another thing that's missing is the elemental damage buff. Sung Il-hwan does not have much, and I think it would also help if it can increase crit rate too, that the lineup can really power creep Minnie, because right now they're just they're really just about the same and there's not much difference, and it does not look good for a main character from the story, honestly. But then of course it's very possible that the devs will buff him sometime in the next few weeks, and if that happens on top of the bug fix and the right breaker release, his value will shoot up more. But really, hopefully that Sung Il-hwan won't be another Thomas Andre situation, because a lot of players will not like it. So yeah, that's it. Just stay tuned for more specific gameplay guide on various game content. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next one.